Hey everyone, this is Coloring Chemist. My name is Connie and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, or this video, is going to look at basically my evolution as a colorist. I feel awkward using that word. I don't know. I guess I color, therefore I am a colorist. I'm not a professional colorist by any stretch of the imagination, but I've been feeling lately, I don't know if stuck is the word. I don't know if it's a coloring slump. I'll try and explain maybe more as I go through, but I sort of wanted to document for you guys, but also for myself, the progress that I've made. Now, I colored as a kid and I loved it. I stopped coloring, when I got older. I didn't color throughout my teen years and I didn't color in my early adulthood. I kind of came back to it, I would say, almost right before, well, I was going to say during COVID, but no, I think it was before that. I think it was probably about maybe 2016, 2017. And this is what I started with. These were the first books that I purchased as sort of an adult colorist. And I did do a little bit of coloring before I got these books in just some books that my daughter, I think I'd purchased for my daughter to color in, and she really never took to coloring. So I took them back because by this point in time she was a teen, and I colored in those a little bit. But these were sort of the first books that I bought for me. I don't think they're sold anymore, which is too bad. They're really nice books. The art is by F. Sanaz Bach. I think that's how you say it. And there was 3 books she had. And they're all color by number. She had Birds and Butterflies, Animal Friends, and Flowers and Mandalas. And the paper in them it's quite good. Like I say, I don't think they make them anymore. She had, in the front and back, there are sort of the answer key. There's the colored versions. But I really liked her color palette, and I think I just lucked out. I didn't really know anything about coloring. She also has a book, I think, where she talks about rock painting. So if any of you are interested in that I think is still in print. But these were books I started with. Now, these are actually not even my first copies. I went through and colored everything in these books once, and then I bought more of the same book. And the first books, I don't actually have the images anymore. I would tear them out, and once I was done with them, I would throw them away. I know, but that's what I did. And even some of these second copies, I've torn some out, I've colored them and thrown them away. But this is where I started. So you can see, it's just color by number. She's got some colored samples in the front. This is sort of, the start. I was following her color suggestions. Yeah, it looks to me like that's maybe water-based markers. Yeah, because it's not going through, right? So it's kind of streaky. I didn't really... It was more just I needed to put some color on paper, and that was about it. That was all I was, thinking about. And then I discovered alcohol markers, and some of them were Winsor Newton. I actually had a few Prismacolor alcohol markers at one point. I'm not even sure where those are anymore. There's only a handful of them. And I think I had a few Copics, so you can see. And it's, it's nice paper. It's nice and smooth. It's really too bad these books aren't around anymore. So I started doing it with alcohol markers. So some of the streakiness went away. Some more alcohol marker. And then I discovered other supplies. Things like gel pens. So this one, if you can see there, it's partly alcohol marker and partly glitter gel pen. And I kind of did that with all of these books. There was sort of even a little evolution of my coloring within these books, right? I discovered that I could, well, use mixed media for lack of a better, this one, there's one here. This even has a little bit of glaze pen, right? The black outlining there. I did like on the leaves, a little bit of black glaze pen. So these were the books I started in. it was color by number, and it got me used to the supplies. And then I really, well, I got started on, this was more color by number. And again, I used to tear things out or scan them in. So these are some George Tufexis that I did, right? Color by number. I was watching Jennifer Stay. She was the first coloring channel, Coloring Bliss, that I discovered on YouTube. And she talked about different papers. So I got some tan tone paper and I scanned some color by number on that and did it. Like the effect there. I decided to do some color by number with glitter gel pen to see how that turned out. And then I found Colourist mandala books. And I was still tearing pages out. I wasn't leaving them in the books. So I started doing mandalas. Now, again, looking at my evolution as a colorist, I think, yeah, these were alcohol marker. My color choices when I was doing this. So now this is probably about 20, I spent a long time on those color by number, those Sanaz Bach books. So this is probably like 2018, 2019. I didn't have a great eye for color, and I still don't think I do. I'm definitely still learning, but I think it's getting better. Because I look back at a lot of these mandalas that I did, and it's just, there's too many colors going on. The colors themselves don't work well together. Yeah, it's just, there's too, for my coloring style anyway, some of them were just too bright. I'm not a fan of bright colors. For those of you that are fans of bright colors, you might be thinking, looking at this, thinking, no, those are okay, Connie. But yeah, I just didn't, again, sort of the evolution. This is where I started, well, this is one of them anyway, where I started to pare back on the number of colors I was using, and I realized that made it better. But I wasn't understanding about contrast, light and dark, so you can see this is all very mid-tone. There's a few bits of lighter color in here and maybe a few bits of dark, but, you know, not a whole lot. This was too light. This was getting better, I think. This was not. I don't know what happened. It was just, yeah. And I still feel that way. And that's partly why I think I wanted to, and you can see these are all alcohol marker because you can see it's gone through to the other side. I wanted to just look back and just see what I had done, you know, maybe how far I'd come. So more understanding of limiting the color palette and how that's going to help. Blues and browns. I went through apparently a blue and brown phase. A little bit more color there. Now, most of these were just alcohol marker. This one I can see where I brought in a little bit of, you can see it shine there a bit, a little bit of metallic gel pen with the alcohol marker. This mandala, I think this is Jennifer Stay. Is this one of hers? I think. I went through an obsession with this mandala. I loved it. So I colored it with sort of pinks and golds and kind of a mixed media thing there. There's alcohol marker, but there's also, I don't know if you can see, there's some metallic gel pens on there. Yeah, so, and then I printed it on black paper and did pink and gold again. and you know, that was okay. Then I still printed it on black paper and did blue and silver. So there's that. Then I printed it on white paper and just used a lot of different colors. But they're muted colors. And that was something else I started to understand, right? The difference between muted colors, you know, grayed out colors, vintage colors, the difference between primary, secondary, tertiary colors, right? I was starting to... Then there was this one. I don't know what happened there. That's all I think I did of that mandala. And And then I start to experiment with backgrounds. Now, that's a horrible color palette. But I think I was trying backgrounds, so I didn't want to choose maybe a mandala that I, had fond thoughts of in case the background went horribly wrong. So these are some pretty bad mandalas. But, trying inks, it's terrible, trying to learn some ink blending. There's a gray background, not sure what I was thinking there. This one got better. I was, somewhat. This is on watercolor paper, and this is, I think, some of those brush watercolor pens, like Arteza maybe, the real brush ones, with a little bit of sparkle thrown in there. Again, color palettes, right? As I was going through all this, and I was learning and I was trying things, I felt I was really happy. And even, looking back now on some of those mandalas and some of the color palettes, I cringe. But I was learning. Here I did this mandala, and I can't honestly remember where this came from. A book, I think, and I just scanned it onto some black paper. And then, was trying some background spatters, and I had never done spatters before. Wasn't that, I think I smeared some of them, but again, just, trying things. This I scanned and printed on, or maybe I just printed on. You can buy metallic paper. Like the paper itself is metallic. And then I just colored on top of it with, I don't honestly remember. I think it might have been, it didn't go through, so I'm not sure. But the paper has almost a plasticky feel to it. Could have been alcohol markers. Could have been something else too. But again, just trying the new paper. I just found it at Walmart. I'm not sure if they still sell it. More mandalas from Colourist, trying backgrounds. And backgrounds with a stencil. I don't know if you can see that in the background. It's pretty faint. So, trying things. And, like I say, I felt like I was learning. I felt like I was making some progress. I still... And this is, I think, what I'm still struggling with now. So this is another Jennifer Stay picture. I tried some shading on these hearts, and then it didn't really work out, and I didn't like the color palette. So I printed it again and colored it again and tried different shading on these hearts, and it still didn't work out. So these are more Jennifer Stay pictures. So I was trying some shading here with the eggs. I don't know if you can even see that. The color palette is very, I don't know, wonky. Yeah, I was trying to make like the middle of the egg a little bit lighter, but there's another. So this is kind of some mixed media there. It's alcohol marker, but with some metallic, it looks like metallic, probably Jelly Roll. Gel pens. Tried a little bit of shading on the flowers, a little bit of shading. It's very... My idea of shading was take the same alcohol marker and go over the spots that I wanted darker, again, with that same color marker. So, it's darker by just a hair. And I felt... This was a crazy color palette. I think I was just trying watercolor paints. I felt like I didn't have a lot of control over how the pictures turned out. But at the time, I don't think I worried about it so much. So it was kind of like, sometimes I'd be coloring and I'd think, this is really turning out well. And other times I'd be coloring and, halfway through I'm thinking, no. But I kind of didn't care. I was having fun and I was learning, right? So here's World of Flowers. I think this was a freebie Joanna had put out. And again, I printed it on. It looks like that metallic paper. It's got like a plasticky feel to it. There's aspects of this that are okay. There's aspects that are not. But I think I learned. This was another Jennifer Stay one. Here I was starting to understand, or again, I think I talked about this earlier, about muted color palettes. And I believe this is when I got my first set of the tri-blends. The Spectrum Noir tri-blend markers. The ones that have the dark, medium, and light marker in the same... here, show you. Where are we? Here. These ones, right? So you've got a dark, medium, and light of the same color in the same marker. This is the vintage blue blend. And I think I got the vintage package. So it was these muted colors and muted tones. And I did this whole picture with just those it's 6 markers, 18 colors, right? And then used some metallic gel pen that sort of matched up. So I took a pink metallic gel pen for the S, a turquoise one for the P, and so on. And I started to feel like there was some cohesiveness here. But again, you know, when I finished this, I remember being really, really proud of it. And I still like it. But I truly didn't know or couldn't... I couldn't explain why I did what I did. And I didn't know if I could actually reproduce it again. I mean, I guess I could look at the colors, but I think what I'm getting at is I didn't plan pages. I just sort of started them and sort of, you know, thoughts came to me as I was going, and it's just sort of went how it went. So I didn't plan pages. Same thing here. I scanned this out of a Jen Racine book. I think it was that Hugo book. Flat color. Tried to do a little bit of shading with markers. Again, the muted color palette. I was finding sort of, you know, discovering what I liked. Then there was this. This is just straight up glitter gel pen, fall colors. Still muted colors though. So you can see over, you know, the course of just looking at those, I was finding out what I liked, right? I was liking the more muted color palettes. This is a book that I had printed by Jennifer and Steve Stay. You can get custom coloring books printed by them. Wonderful, wonderful resource. And you can choose your paper. So I had this book printed on their watercolor paper. That was me attempting to watercolor a tree. And some flowers. But, you know, I did some swatching in the back. That was great. Trying different things. I still felt happy doing it though, even if the final result was less than, you know, wasn't exactly something I would look at now and think, that was trying graphitant, I think. You know, I might look at it now and think, I just don't know what I was thinking. Like, that's a lot of different colors going on there. But I still wasn't planning pages. That one turned out okay. I actually did some blending with watercolor paints. So I don't know if you can see that. The word spring. It's like the lower part of the letters is a different color. Here's my thing though. I'm finding that the more I color, and maybe even since I started my channel, yeah, I still can't plan pages. My brain, for whatever reason, won't work that way. Just doesn't work that way. And because of that, I'm getting frustrated, I guess maybe is the right word. So looking at all these, I'm trying to figure out how I can better, I don't know how to explain this. Maybe how I can better anticipate what my page is going to look like. I always feel like when I start a page, it's a complete, I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, and I don't mean this to be crude, but I think it's an expression. It's a crapshoot, right? I never ever know when I start a page, is it going to turn out well? Is it going to turn out badly? because I kind of don't have a plan, and I'm trying to train my brain to see pages before I color them. But it's really hard, really, really hard. So it makes me always nervous and leery to start a page. And I think I was starting to feel that even back then. So I mean, I was enjoying coloring back then. But even back then, I was starting to feel like I wish I had a better idea of how this is going to turn out. And you can see, here we'll take a look at some more things that I did back in the day. So these smaller colored books, I really like these. So again, starting to, look at, sorry, I'm not lingering on any one picture. These are just doodles. Sometimes I got super crazy. Then I backed off and thought, a simpler color palette might be better, be more muted. That got crazy again. That's really monotone. That really is monotone. Maybe I was feeling Christmassy. But I thought it was in this one. Maybe it's not. So I don't know. Am I learning by the time I'm doing this? Oh no, I think it's in this one. So this is traveling mandalas, and I don't know if they sell this book anymore. So this was something else new that I had seen someone do on YouTube, so I tried it out. I literally just traced over, instead of coloring the mandala, I traced over all of the line work with a gold gel pen. So, I mean, that was neat. I thought that was okay. And then there's this. Can you see what that says? I really got frustrated because I was starting to, because I was maybe getting better, when I did start a page and it started to go badly, I got very frustrated. Whereas when I first started coloring, pretty much no matter what color I put to paper, I don't know, I was happy, right? I was just putting color to paper and I was happy. But then I started to maybe learn more, maybe get better, and it seems silly, doesn't it? But it was like I got better and I started to be able to recognize how badly things were going on a particular page, and then I would get frustrated. So that was, I stuck a post-it on there. This is a disaster, and we left it. But then I went on to this one. So that was March 27th, 2021. This one was okay. It was better. So that was March 29th, 2021. So that was Pitt Artist Pens. This was one of the first pictures, I think, that I pulled out my Pitt Artist Pens and really sat and worked with them. And it was one of the, I think this is maybe even the mandala that kind of got me hooked to thinking I could really color with these. So it's a neat little mandala. This was better. That's really awful. Better. Then I was trying the tracing again. Trying some background. That's okay. And then this was just terrible, so I abandoned it. Didn't like that. Abandoned that one. Not so good. I think that's all I did in here. But I was starting to, and I don't know, I guess what I'm asking is, have any of you ever experienced that? You start to sort of get better at something, and you're more likely to get frustrated. And it becomes scarier somehow. I don't know, I find the further I go with my coloring, the more trepidation I feel in starting a page, because I feel like, what if I put a whole bunch of time and effort into this and it turns out really badly? I don't know. Maybe it's just the January blahs. I'm not sure. But I thought maybe sharing this with you guys and just seeing what you guys, do you ever feel like that? Just seeing what you guys have to say. I have colored a lot of mandalas over the years. And I know you guys have seen some of my snowflake mandalas. I thought I'd just show you just some quick glances at just some mandalas that I've colored over the years. I think mandalas tend to be my go-to because I feel like I can start a mandala and I don't care, right? I can get away from that fear of what if this is going to turn out badly? I mean, obviously, sometimes it turns out so badly, I just put a post-it on there that says, this is a disaster with a frowny face. But other times, you know, I'll just color and whatever happens, happens. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But these little mandala books are great for that. Yeah, I just don't feel the fear, right? I don't feel the fear that I do when I start, you know, a Rita Berman page. See, this book, I think I was getting a little bit better, maybe at choosing colors. These mandalas, well, that's not great. These mandalas don't look quite as scary as some of those other ones did. This is an interesting little book. I'm not even sure if it's worth showing. I mean, it's Jade Summer. It's tiny little mandalas. There are mandalas in here from shrunk down from her magical mandalas book, her animal mandalas, flower mandalas, and mandalas for beginners. And they're all little. I don't think the original books were. So I just went to town, you know, coloring these gel pens. Some of them were terrible color choices. I think the mandalas helped me to learn about color choices. I think, you know, you saw those colorist mandalas earlier. I think it was helping me to learn. I even did some experimenting in this book before I had my channel. So this was treated with Liquitex gesso, and then I tried some alcohol marker to see if it would go through. This was treated with DW? Dina Wakely? Maybe there's... Does she have a gesso? She might have. And then just to see if it would go through. DS. I honestly can't remember what DS is. SGL. I don't remember what I was doing. Oh, this is the Winsor & Newton iridescent medium. I just wanted to see if that would actually stop alcohol marker going through. It does not. This is the Sheer Goodness, the stuff that I use for snow. I wanted to see if that would stop alcohol marker going through. It did. I think this is some sort of extreme glitter Mod Podge. Yeah, that stopped it. And then I think I colored some others back here. But just these little mandala books were, I don't know, helping me. I've got all kinds of mandala books that I did, you know. I was getting better, I think, at maybe contrast. I like that one. But there's a part of me that wants to move away from mandalas, but there's also a part of me that feels, I don't know, drawn, like even now with those snowflake mandalas, you know, I've been drawn back to those instead of doing, you know, a picture in any of these beautiful new books that I buy. This one is, I just think I did a few in here. Yeah, it's pretty not good. Do you guys feel like that? Do you just ever get to a point where you just, these are bad. I don't know. It's like I'm frozen with, I don't know, I hesitate to call it. There's a gray mandala. Kind of like that one with the gray and the blue, silver. Frozen with indecision, frozen with fear. I don't know. These were some, that's interesting. I don't remember what I did in some of these books. You know, it wasn't like, it's all right. It wasn't like I was coloring them and then thinking, okay, this is a masterpiece. I think I was just putting color to paper and saying, this is, you know, this is good enough. I think I went through a Celtic, no, this is sort of a right around St. Patrick's Day. So lots of greens and coppers and what have you. Celtic mandalas. And I was having fun. Maybe part of it is getting the channel too. I sort of feel like, I don't know, I need to not be doing mandalas. I need to be doing real coloring. But maybe I shouldn't put that pressure on myself. I don't know. Yeah, I look back at these and I think, well, they're not amazing. Some of them are better than others. This one I think I did a fair amount in. Yeah, I tried different, like some of these are crinkly, so I'm assuming there was some kind of maybe watercolor something involved. I mean, it is Amazon paper too, but and then I discovered Colourist mandalas, and I really, really enjoyed working on these. I think the fact that these are better quality paper sort of made me feel like maybe I had to put more effort into these. So I think a lot of these that I've done, well, some of them are not so great. I think this book I was still trying to find what worked. This book, I think, I'm more proud of. I actually completed this book, and this is the only coloring book I think I've ever... Well, okay, other than those color by numbers that I started with, right? I said I bought the second copies. I did complete those, but I threw them all away. So I didn't tear any pages out of this one. This is completed. And so, and I colored this more or less in order. Sorry if the whole thing doesn't fit here. It's very tall. But I sort of felt like, I don't know, like I needed to maybe put more effort into this because the paper was good. The images were nice. I don't know. Like I like that. But looking back on this, I can remember thinking when I started it, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really have a plan. I just sort of started it, and then it started to turn out well. So sorry, it's kind of, you're getting kind of stream of consciousness there, aren't you? But I think that's a big part of it for me. I like control. And maybe it's my math science brain, but I would like to know when I start a page it's going to turn out well. And maybe that's not art. And maybe that's another lesson I need to learn from doing art and coloring, right? It's not like doing a chemistry calculation where, you know, as long as I know the formula and I understand the concepts, it's going to turn out well. I'm going to get the right answer, right? There's no right answer here. Maybe that's part of it. I'm just struggling with that lately. I don't know why. You know, I didn't... Yeah, just this month, I just seem... It's hard for me to pick a page and get started on something because I just have this fear in the back of my brain. Like, this is what if, right? What if this turns out really terribly? I think... Yeah. You know, there was a lot of pages in here. Some of them I like better than others. But I remember thinking, you know, when I was doing each of these pages, I don't have a plan. I don't know how this is going to turn out. And I think most of them turned out okay. And maybe I'm searching for why. You know, what did I do? What was my frame of mind? Or what did I do differently when I was doing these pages to make them turn out okay? Was it different color choices I was making? Was it, I don't know, was it a different frame of mind I was in? Was I more willing to experiment and now I'm scared to do that? I I don't know. I'm doing that one. If you can find these Coloria books, they're not going to be cheap, but I mean the paper is. Can you hear that? It's thick cardstock, and it's not super shiny. I find the Color It mandala paper is not quite this thick. It's still nice, but it's not quite this thick. But it's shinier. This has more of a tooth or a texture to it. Yeah, just looking through this. Sorry, hopefully this isn't boring you guys. But I don't know. I don't know what my frame of mind was. Maybe because this is mandalas, I had less fear, right? I wasn't afraid of how things... I remember doing this and just... I just sort of let go. It was like, you know, whatever happens, happens. And I think it turned out really well. Maybe I overthink things. Do any of you guys do that? Are you overthinkers? I saw a meme the other day, and I think it's an older meme. And it was, somebody had written it out to the tune of, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Everybody know that song? It's a little kid song, right? If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. But they had rewritten the words to say, oh, what did it say? If you're happy and you know it, overthink. If you're happy and you know it, overthink. If you're happy and you know it, give your brain a chance to blow it. If you're happy and you know it, overthink. I think I should probably have that on a t-shirt and wear it. Yeah, there's that finished book. And looking at those just now with you guys, you know, I think a lot of them turned out well. And maybe it was because I didn't overthink, you know? Maybe that's it. Sorry, it's a little processing session here with you guys, but and again, you know, more mandalas. And you know, I know you guys have seen these, but I don't tend to overthink mandalas. I just let them happen. Is that why they turn out better? I don't know. So, talking about back to sort of my journey as a colorist. I think part of it is learning. So these are some pictures that I did when I was, and I think you guys have seen these, I was still learning. This is like maybe 2021, 2022. Learning some shading. I mean, it didn't go badly. There was another one in here somewhere. Yeah. I remember being really proud of this one when I did it. I liked the muted colors. The trees I had some trouble with. They didn't turn out the way I wanted them to, but I tried a little bit of shading on the cabin. I think that went okay. A little bit of shading on the logs. I think that went okay. This was a page that I treated with, was it gesso? I feel like gesso, or maybe it was the satin glazing, golden satin glazing liquid, and then used alcohol marker. So these snowflakes here, and I think I've shown this before, but it does not go through. So, and then I did one in here just this winter, Christmas time. Went okay, but I don't remember feeling as relaxed doing this as when I was doing the mandalas. Again, I think it's, if you're happy and you know it, overthink. I think that's a lot of it, is overthinking. Now, I remember getting this book, and this was the very first Lulu Mayo book that I got. And I think I talked about this in when I was talking about my regrets video. I now have 4 Lulu Mayo books. This is the only picture I've colored in any of them. Because quite frankly, I don't like it. I don't like what I did. I don't like my color choices. And I remember thinking really hard about this one before I started it because it was Lulu Mayo, right? I felt like she's a wonderful, amazing artist, and I need to do well on this. And I remember thinking about this really hard before I started, and then it turned out not great. You know, like I just do not like what I did here. And it's kind of stopped me from coloring anymore in Lulu Mayo's books. So, yeah, I need to ponder that more, I think. In terms of evolution as a colorist, that was one that I did earlier on. It's kind of flat coloring. There's no shading or anything. I did this one a little bit later in this book. So, you know, getting better, I think. Again, I had no plan for this one. I remember planning for that first one. This one, I just went for it. And it turned out better. But there's an aspect to that that scares me because if I don't plan, I don't know. It's the control thing again. So maybe that's my two problems. Overthinking and control. They're probably related. These, I think I did 2 in here. I remember doing that one first. Again, no planning. I think it turned out quite well. I think I've got a nice kind of glow on the moon there. You know, I've got the moon sort of lighting up the top of the house, and then, I don't know, I just think it turned out really well, but I didn't really have a plan for it. And then I did this one, and I had more of a plan for this one, and I liked this one less. Yeah. But I'm a planner. That's kind of the problem here. In terms of Matchstick Mouse, I've done a few Matchstick Mouse colorings. They're okay. I mean, they're simple little pictures. So maybe looking at my evolution, you know, in these pictures isn't so... Well, at the very end, we'll get to Joanna Basford, and I think we'll see my evolution as a colorist a lot better there. Getting better. So these ones I colored, I think, not this past fall, or did I? And then this is the one that I colored just at Christmas time here. Getting better, I think. I didn't really have a plan for this one before I started. I remember having a plan for this one, or as much of a plan as I could. I couldn't visualize it, but I guess I just kind of knew what colors I wanted to try. Yeah. This is where the fear really starts to come in. I love Rita Berman. But I'm always so afraid to start a page because I just don't know how it's going to turn out. And I feel like if it turns out badly, I've ruined the book somehow. Isn't that silly? I shouldn't think like that. But if you want, we can take a look at some things that I colored in her books. I know I've never really done a video like that. My channel's, you know, relatively new. I think it's about 4 months old now. And I've never done a, you know, these are all my colorings in. Maybe I should do, but yeah. So just in terms of my evolution as a colorist, I think this was the very first Rita Berman picture I ever colored. So it's Little Spring Wreath. And I remember being really, really proud of this. Proud of how these little catkins turned out. Proud of how the willow buds here, pussy willows, turned out. I don't know if you can see that. Ooh, nope, not enough light. I had a little bit of shading on the berries. I tried to do just some shading on the different flowers. I just remember being really proud of how that turned out. It's all Pitt pen, I believe. Yep, with little bits of sparkle here and there. I could put a little sparkle and some berries there. Yeah, Pitt pen. So that was the very first Rita Berman picture I colored. That was maybe 2022, maybe? I'm just, you know what? I didn't mark things back then, so I don't really know. And then in almost all of her books, except for that spring one, I colored the little starting bits. So this might have been the second thing I colored. didn't go so well. I think that was maybe the third thing I colored. Went okay. Again, it's brighter, I think, than I would normally have done. If I was going to do this again, I think I would choose different colors. There's something else that I've done. There. Was still learning. Not sure what I think about those. I think that's it in that, the summertime book. Fall one. I did the little leaf there, and I did those mushrooms. Not sure what I think about that. I think we talked about this one before. It's okay. I don't like that. So if you cover that up, it's a better picture, I think. I remember having a plan for this one, though, and getting over here and getting frustrated. Because when I started putting these colors down, I realized this isn't going to work, or it's not going to work as well as I think it's going to work, and not knowing what to do about it. So I look back at this picture, and I don't have super fond memories of doing it. That was just gel pen. I just did those flowers. And you know what? It was pretty fun. I did a little bit of gel pen blend, kind of scribble blending. Same thing with, I think I did a page in here where there's pumpkins. Yeah, I mean the background got kind of out of control, but yeah, just some kind of scribble blending and I didn't worry about it that much. I didn't overthink. The winter one, oh, there is a completed, remember my my sunset one? I'll show you that in the January completed pages. That might have been the second thing. Maybe this was the very first thing. Maybe that spring wreath was the second thing. Yeah. I remember being proud of that when it was done. But again, didn't think too much about it. It was a little teeny picture. And then when it was finally done, I thought, oh, I really like that. But I wish that feeling wasn't... It feels like I'm grasping that feeling in the dark sometimes. Does that make sense? You know, like that feeling doesn't... and maybe that's just art. That feeling doesn't feel like it's... I can rely on it. Because I never know if... There's a spring one I did. So I have all 4 books and I have a compilation book. I know, it's silly. I didn't have a plan for this. I just started it. And you know what? I think it turned out really well. The background is, I think it's metallic paint. And I think it was watercolor pencils for the flowers. Just activated with water, I think. And then I just did maybe even a little bit of, I think there's glitter gel pen on the butterflies. Again, it seems to be those pictures that I don't think about that turn out. I did a summer one in here too. They just turn out better. But then I'm always afraid that if I start it and I do all this work, it's going to turn out really badly. I don't know. I need to let go. I need to let go of that perfectionism. That's something I've struggled with. And I think I've said that before. My whole life is perfectionism. This is the only picture I've ever done in an Erie book. Because, again, I'm scared. I did this. Not very much coloring on it. Maybe that's why I was less scared. Because there was less to mess up. I don't know. I think it turned out okay. I think there's some pit pens on here and maybe some colored pencil. Maybe a little bit of Holbein places. I did 2 pictures in here, and these are the only Melpomene pictures I've done other than the snowman one that I just did this past Christmas. And again, didn't have a plan for these. And because there's mandala in the title, maybe I just had that, I don't know, that sense of freedom. And I think they turned out well. So this is more recent. I think that turned out okay. I sort of tried to do like night into day this way. I don't know how well the background turned out, but I sort of did like the Luna moths. Well, not Luna moths. Moths that were almost like a gray-white color. And then into monarch butterflies. These weren't monarch butterflies. I actually turned them into this, just using pictures off the internet and going by that. I remember really enjoying doing this one. Started to get frustrated with the background because it wasn't turning out the way I wanted. And then I did this one. I think this might have even been just this past summer. Again, remember enjoying doing this. It was a mandala, so maybe I wasn't, I don't know, just wasn't worried about how the cohesiveness of the picture, or, you know, it was a mandala, so I could just color it. And this is virtually all Pitt pen. The gray, or the taupe color out here on the background is alcohol marker. And then some of the blue in here, in amongst the vegetables, that's alcohol marker. And then I did a little bit of shading on top of that with pencil. But I'm pretty sure all the coloring is Pitt pens. So I think, I mean, if we think back to, you know, those mandalas that I was doing, granted they're a different kind of mandala, but the mandalas that I was doing and I was showing to you at the very beginning, I think I have, you know, I think I've progressed. I think I've learned. Somehow that makes it scarier. I don't know why, but it does. This was one that I did a buddy color with Kay not too long ago. So this was November of 2023. And I just copied or tried to copy the front. My shading, I mean, I remember having fun doing this. Yeah. I started doing 2 pictures in here. So I've started that, but I've not gotten very far. I did this one a little bit on the channel at the very beginning, but still have not gotten very far. And the one that I completed in here, of course, is the one that's the header and the little thumbnail for my channel. And I am proud of this one. I didn't have a plan for this one either. I just sort of went for it. I mean, I knew there was a lot of glassware. So, if you can see all the glassware shine there. I just wish, I don't know, I wish I knew when I started a new page that it would turn out well. And maybe I can't. Maybe I have to just be okay with that. Not sure why there's a post-it there. I think this might be one of my all-time favorites. But evolution as a colorist. I mean, I think, you know, based on some of those earlier pictures I did when I started in 2017, 2018, I don't think I could have ever envisioned being able to do something like that. So maybe I just need to let go, not overthink, not feel like I have to control everything, and be okay with it. Joanna Basford, I think, is where I can really see my evolution as a colorist. Joanna's Christmas was one of the first ones I got. And one of the first pictures I did in here, I think I showed this maybe was this one. And it didn't go terribly well. I mean, it is what it is. And I added the kind of snow effect at the bottom and the stencils in the back afterwards. But that compared to one that I did, that's one I did this year. There's one I did last year. I did that one last year. I think I colored that the year before that. Maybe the year before. So, I mean, there's an evolution, right? Between that and the other pictures. This is one of my all-time favorite books. And one of the first pictures I colored in here was this one, where I started it. Again, you can see, I think, color choices. There's not really a cohesiveness there. I kind of had, for some reason, for the longest time, I kept thinking each different flower had to be a different color. And realizing now that doesn't necessarily work, right? You're not going to get cohesiveness. So this, I think, is more cohesive. You know, I stuck with a color palette. This was another one of the firsts that I did in this book. Again, every color had, or every flower, almost every flower had to be a different color. It's very bright, but I don't know that I would do it again that way. I don't think I would. This was another one of the firsts that I did in this book. Again, different colors, right? It just, there's no cohesiveness. And then starting to understand what limiting the color palette can do. Again, understanding a more cohesive color palette with just pops of small different colors. This is an interesting one, and I think I showed this before. I don't know if I explained. This is actually taped in. There is, underneath, oh, I taped it in there pretty good. There's another version of this underneath that's really, really awful. And it was so awful. I had a second copy of this book. I actually cut out this picture from my other copy, colored it, and taped it over top. And the one that's underneath here, I remember planning and thinking and planning and, yeah, I'm going to do this and it's going to look so cool. And it's a disaster. This, much less planned. Maybe that's what I'm learning with you guys. Here, I was just trying out different flowers, trying to make them look as realistic as I could. That was planned. Again, didn't turn out that well. I don't like the color palette there. I don't like what happened with it. This is one of the ones that I'm, I think, proudest of. Limited color palette. The flowers are almost all the same colors, right? Either the pink or the purple. I think, yeah, that's another one, right? Limited color palette. And I remember starting this one and not thinking, right? I didn't plan it. I didn't think. I just started coloring some leaves, I think, and it just went from there. Started that one, haven't gotten very far. I think I did a little bit of, I think I showed how I was coloring terracotta on that one, maybe. I also colored the only book of hers I've ever done this with. Colored the outside. And then I keep this on to try and keep this clean. So I think you can see my evolution of a colorist, even within this book. I think that's definitely, you can see it there. You could see it in the Christmas book. I don't know that I've done a whole lot in her Rooms of Wonder or Worlds of Wonder. think I did a background there. Oh my goodness, I think that was it. I don't think I've done anything in here. Worlds of Wonder, I think I've done a few. And again, do we see evolution? Was still doing, I don't, yeah. I'm not seeing a whole lot of cohesiveness there. They're pretty colors, I guess. Maybe every page doesn't have to be cohesive. Oh, I did some backgrounds there ready for something else. Oh, I do remember doing this one. Didn't think about this one, just started it. And I'm not sure the lighting does it justice. I'm doing this at night, so. But there's a really pale blue background there, and then like white daisies. That's another thing I think I've learned as I've, you know, colored and done things, is the value of white. The value of leaving things white, or having, you know, white flowers. These are some PDFs that I've colored that I think, again, probably show some evolution. Sorry, I'm getting surrounded by things here. So I did these, my goodness, was it last year, so not Christmas 2023, but Christmas 2022. And I think I was starting to learn. There's some shading and some dimension, I think, on the things I was coloring. Some could be better. I think one of my viewers, I was talking about Joanna Basford before, and they said it's difficult to put dimension on her pictures because she draws everything as though it's flat. And yeah, I could see that. I mean, I still tried. And she's got some 3D, like with the bell and that sort of thing. And then just this past Halloween, I did that Joanna page. This is a free Joanna page that she had made available years ago. And I did it this past Halloween. I think I used more kind of multimedia in here. And then this one. And I know I showed this in my December completed pictures. I'm really proud of this one. I really, yeah, evolution of a colorist. I think I'm learning. But I just dove into this. You know, the only thing I knew was I wanted to try out that sunset background. That was the only thing, the only plan that I had. And I was so excited when when Melpomene offered this freebie this past Christmas. I was so excited. I printed it out and I dove in. So I didn't overthink. Maybe that's the key. For those of you who are, you know, more experienced than I am, and artists and colorists, is that the key? Don't overthink. Maybe that is the key. I think, though, my evolution of a colorist, you know, thinking back, we looked at, well, it was about an hour ago now. We looked at those mandalas and things that I colored before. I mean, I think I'm learning. I'm learning. I hope to learn more. And I've been working on a project I'm recording this in January 2024. I've been working on a project this month, swatching project, which I think probably the next set of videos that'll come out maybe after this one maybe I'll do a little swatching with you guys. And swatching seems to be my safety net when I feel too scared or too apprehensive to start a page. I swatch, because then at least I can use my tools and my supplies and not worry about messing anything up. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of swatching this month, but again, that's control, and I don't have to let go to swatch. I can organize and control, which sometimes you have to organize. But maybe letting go is yeah. I need to think about that some more. Don't know what you guys think of this video. I guess it was kind of a rambly video. You got to see some of my older colorings, maybe that you wouldn't have seen before, because my channel is kind of new. So I hope you liked that. Saw a little bit of my evolution as a colorist, and heard a little bit of my random self, what do they call it? self-talk, inner monologue. Heard a little bit of that. Anyway, we'll leave this here as the last thing you guys can take a look at as we say goodbye. So, I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is enjoying their coloring. If you like what you see on my channel, consider liking the videos. Consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, leaving a comment, or letting a friend know that you found a YouTube channel and they might like it too. Until next time, when I think maybe we'll do a little bit of swatching together, I hope everyone is well and take care. All right, guys. Bye-bye.